So cool. So we are here with Oscar from Hammerfall. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So we're up in Montreal, Quebec tonight for the third date of the co-headlining tour with Delane. You guys just what were you just in Quebec City last night, and then we opened it up in Toronto on Wednesday. That was a great show.
Thank you.
So I'll admit that was the first time I saw you guys. Although you got to give me a little bit of leeway. It's been 7 years since since you guys have been over here.
Yeah, I don't blame you too much.
So it's cool. It was a great show. First and foremost, you guys put on a heck of a performance. Lots of energy. So for anybody watching, we're at the very kickoff of this tour right now, and both bands put on an incredible show. Lots of energy, great stuff. So thank you for coming over here and bringing the show to us, first of all.
It's our pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. So the new album that you're touring in support of right now, Built to Last, that came out in the fall?
Yeah, November.
Okay, there it is. I know. I remember we reviewed it on our site. I couldn't remember which month, but I know it was out.
November 4th, I think.
So there you go. So talk about it a little bit. How has the touring gone overseas? First of all, how's the album going over so far?
I think we were. It's always even. We've done this for 20 years, but even still, every time you release an album, you don't know what people are going to think. Mm-hmm. And obviously, it's important that people like it, or at least that they buy it, so that we can tour on it and all that stuff.
Yep.
But I've never written a song once to please anybody other than myself. Mm-hmm. Never. At least not first and foremost.
Yep.
That's the most important thing. Is I am happy with the song. It makes me happy when I listen to it or whatever.
Yeah.
But like I said, we have to get some success if we're going to be able to, like for example, come over here and tour or in Europe or whatever. So I'm very happy that people have been responding so well to it. It's especially over here. I think it felt like this album was. It's not. I know Hammerfall is not for everybody. I know this from experience. Like some people have maybe preconceived notions that we are this and that and whatever, and they will not listen to it and then just dismiss it.
Yep.
Which is fine if they want to do that. I mean, it's their loss, I think. So,
sure.
So, but the people who actually like Hammerfall, who are fans of the band, they seem to love this album very much.
Yeah.
And that's second to pleasing myself. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, definitely. As a fan that certainly came into you guys more recently, I'll admit as much. It's a big world and there's tons of music to take in,
I know what you mean.
right? But as a fan, I'd be interested in your take on it. But I mean, if somebody's asking me, and I actually just had this conversation with someone on my way up here today, I sort of put you guys as like the bridge between like an Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and a band that I'm sure you're familiar with that's not as big as Maiden and Priest, Tyr.
What was that?
TYR, Tyr. It's more
Tyr,
Viking
metal.
Yep. So you've kind of got those elements, but not so far in the one direction. You're a little bit more accessible, I would say, and I enjoy the heck out of them too. But I think you've got more of a broader appeal.
I guess I've never thought of it that way, but that makes sense. I can
it's how it hit me. I don't know. Yeah. So, but the Maiden Priest. I mean, would I be kind of on pace there? With
of course. These are the bands that we grew up with. Acceptance, for example. It's like those couple of bands were really important for the sound of Hammerfall. Mm-hmm. But it's another thing that people like. I used to be a huge. Well, still love Slayer a lot, for example. So when I got into Slayer, what captured me was the energy and everything, but also the way that the guitars work with each other.
Yep.
And I love that because that was exactly the same reason I liked Judas Priest.
Yeah.
Not just that, obviously, the vocals and the songs and everything, but the way that they play the guitars are two different instruments.
Yep.
This is something I learned when I was trying to learn the Priest songs in the 80s when I was starting out playing guitar. Mm-hmm. What you hear is one thing, and then when you actually listen to it, like you try to hear what they actually are playing, it's always two things. They're always doing like dual things.
Yeah.
Which is why the combined effort sounds so special, I think.
Mhm.
Reason. And there's another German band called Stormwitch.
Okay.
They also have this approach,
Yeah.
like two guitars, and it is two guitars. It's not just two guitar players who play the same thing. It's, you know, they don't always play separate things, but they do it so it's
layered.
It's never flow kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And so those have influenced me a lot when it comes to songwriting and writing guitar parts. And stuff
Okay.
like that.
Awesome. Makes for a heck of a show to take in as well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Now, so talking about the writing and you know that kind of influence in your sound. So you guys have been around for a little while now. Is this 20 years this year?
Yes.
Yeah. So how has the specifically related to the album you're touring right now, Built to Last, but how has the songwriting process evolved for you guys now that you're, you know, closing out decade number 2, right?
Good question, because that's something that usually it goes up and down. I mean, creativity for me it's a resource that you can deplete.
Mm-hmm.
It refills by itself, but if it's like a gasoline tank in a car, you know. If you just fill it up a little bit at a time,
Yep.
you're gonna run out all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like when we were writing this album.
Mm-hmm.
I had for the first time that I can remember, a period where a period that was long enough that for me that I felt I wasn't doing anything that was worth keeping, basically,
Mm-hmm.
when I was writing songs. But I think that had to do with a lot to do with the fact that we did tour very long. The last show we did for the last album, we did it. It was the 70,000 Tons of Metal cruise.
Yeah.
And that was in February of last year, and I think it was May 1st. That they were supposed to start recording the new album.
Yep.
So I was working continuously with the songs and then playing and then songs. And that was very unusual for me.
Mhm.
Normally we finish all the touring, then we have 6 to 8 months before the album recording, and that we do nothing but write songs.
Yep.
So for me that down period and the how do you say, where you can focus on that completely and don't have to worry about
Mhm.
playing the other songs
Right.
every night, or you can listen to whatever music you want and then go on. You know, it's a calm period. You know? And I need that basically for my creativity to flow like it always does or has. I mean,
Yep.
it's this when I can think about the music I'm writing all the time
Mhm.
and not have to interrupt that with thinking about the music that I'm going to be playing on stage or something like that. It's like I'm writing songs. I have it at my studio on my in a house on my property. So I go out there and sit there for a couple hours. I go back in, have some lunch or whatever, and or maybe take a shower or something,
Yeah.
and then it's still going on in my head. You know,
Right.
that's the whole process. It's not just writing songs and flip the switch and then you do something else. It doesn't work like that for me.
Yep.
So that's why I cherish those
Yeah.
months that you can just dedicate to this 100%.
Kind of dial it in the whole time, and
Yeah, exactly.
you know, that's cool.
So and we didn't have it this time. So when we did start the recording of the album, I did not know what we had. I
Yep.
mean, I wasn't sure. It was so stressful. It's like a conveyor belt. You just work on this song, move on. You move on to the next one, work on
Yep.
this one, then move that out of the way and get the new one in.
Yeah.
So it was song after song after song, and so I didn't have that time to sit back, relax, have a beer or whatever, and listen to the stuff I've written. And,
Right.
and that's an important part of the process for me too, to understand or to get the feeling for this. What is this material that I've written? Is it good enough to be on the Hammerfall album,
Mhm.
or is it shit? You never know, because it takes a while for it to sink in and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was very worrisome, but once we started recording the album, then I had all the songs were written. We had a couple of tracks down. Then I realized, okay, this is really good. Now
Mhm.
I know this is because then it sunk in, so to speak.
Yeah.
But if I would have felt this is bad, I could do nothing about it because
Right.
we were already
already on
started.
the
So
yeah.
there were some tough times during this songwriting process because of these things.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, ordinarily, I would say from the way that you're kind of describing your process versus how it went this time, I would consider that a little bit troublesome. But at the same time, what you guys turned out worked out pretty good.
One thing, there was about a period of about a month where it really went like a snail's pace with
Sure.
writing. It was making some progress, but very little. And I had 3 songs I think I was working on at the same time, which is also not really that's not common. I can have ideas,
Mm-hmm.
you know, go back and forth, but once I start really working on a song, that's what I finish before I go on to the next one.
Yep.
And this time, because of lack of creativity and lack of like spark for me,
Yeah.
like personally, I tried to get it by working on different songs at the same
Yep.
time. And I felt worried. I have to be honest. I was worried in the middle of this month, or at the end of it, more than anything. I was really worried that I might not be done in time.
Sure.
But out of this process came Hammer High, which is the first single.
It's a great tune.
Sacred Vow,
Mhm.
which is another song that I really like, and I can't remember the other third one was Second to None.
Mhm.
So all those songs, I mean, it was really hard work and mentally very frustrating. But once you got past that hurdle,
Yeah.
and you know, once it was done, it was done. It ended up in a really good spot.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's really cool. I didn't usually get that kind of reflection on that process, so that's kind of neat to hear. So I appreciate that. One thing that occurs to me is when you guys started in the late '90s, you know, the world was a lot bigger then. And what I mean by that is, you know, like then I was kind of finishing up high school, and you know, if you heard of a band from Europe that you liked, I mean, getting a hold of that music was hard. You know, if a local record store had it, it was like a $30 CD. It was, you know, and there was no other way to obtain music. And so fast forward to now, right? I mean, everything is accessible. You can stream things, you can buy them online, you can get it any way you want. Furthermore, you know, bands like yourself they're over here.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a little break in between, but you're here,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know, so it's really cool to see a lot of the other music come out of the region as well. You know, and I find myself loving a ton of stuff that comes out of Sweden. Sabaton, you actually run into them probably this weekend. Are you going to
Yeah,
see them
we're playing
tomorrow?
the same day.
Yep.
Tomorrow. Yeah, it's just tomorrow already. Fuck.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Sabaton, though, I like. I don't know if you're familiar with Amaranth.
Of course. Both of these bands have opened up tours for us in Europe.
I should have studied harder. But I love them. Ghost, what do you think of them?
I love the idea of everything, and they do it really well. But I want energy in my music, and there's almost zero energy. There's no output in it, and there's nothing bad really. It's just I want the energy. I need it. You know, that's why I play the type of music that we do.
Yep.
So I didn't like them as much as I thought I would when I heard about them and I checked them out.
Sure.
I was a little bit disappointed because of that.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I would agree. You guys bring the show is in complete contrast.
Yes.
Right. It's very, very theatrical. But I think you raise a point with the level of energy that the other bands I just mentioned, yourself, Sabaton, you guys are through the roof. You know, and
that's a heavy metal show for me.
Yeah, it is.
And to be fair, Ghost is not a heavy metal band.
Right.
It's and I'm sure they will tell you the same. It's their influences are much more in the 70s. I don't know what progressive rock or whatever genre you want to call it, but it's very, very different from our influences. So it is completely different music.
I get like a Blue Oyster Cult kind of feel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
Whatever you want to categorize that band as, but it's still it's what they do. I have all the respect for it because it's really successful, and what they've done with the production and everything, it's very round. It does not have any edges, which is great for radio or television or whatever.
Yep.
Because people who, to this day even, I find that hard to believe, but it's or crazy. But people who work in these positions, they have an aversion towards screaming guitars. They still, in 2017, they still think this is something that, oh man, nobody would like this.
No.
You know? And that's to me, it's unbelievable.
For the life of me, I agree with you. I don't understand how anybody that once you've been exposed to something like that, how could you possibly want anything else?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's me. I don't. Yeah, right. So,
that's a good point.
You're on point there. But you know, hey, no, I think that's a good call. So, so back in the U.S. again. Now, is this an indication that you guys are here in the U.S., North America, Canada? Is this an indication simply that it's just been a long break since you guys have been here, or are we focused on bringing the tours through North America?
Well, if this is a success,
yeah.
which it seems like it's
yeah.
on its way to become, but it's only 2 shows.
Sure,
out of 3, so yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
But,
buy your tickets, bring a friend.
Yeah, good idea. But yeah, if this is a success, obviously we're looking at coming back.
Sure.
But if this would have been a total disaster, I don't think people would see us again.
Sure.
It's that now we have done. I know that you have to tour much more often than 5 times in 20 years to get over here, but.
Mm-hmm.
The tours that we did, there was such big hopes, and it did not always turn out what we hoped for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about crowd response, because the response of people at the shows are always great.
Sure.
That's not the problem.
Sure.
But we had a certain level in Europe.
Yep.
And for us, it was very difficult to come over here and realize it's starting on how do you call this? Square one.
Kind of starting at the beginning, yeah.
So it was difficult to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
That thing. Plus, it is very expensive to do.
Sure.
So going over here, like two months out of every year, which is, I guess, what you kind of need to do, without making any money, it's really hard to justify that to your family or whatever, and your bank account too.
Yeah.
Because we do have to survive on this.
Sure.
It's not charity for us. I mean, as much as we love the music,
Yep.
this is our job as well. So
Yeah.
we need to be able to provide for our families.
Absolutely.
So those, everything, all of those reasons play a part in this. Plus, North America, actually I have to say Canada excluded, but the U.S. has not been very kind to this type of music that we play.
Right.
The interest level is just not there.
Right.
It's getting better and better, but it's really slow.
Yeah, it's funny because some of the stuff that's a little bit more, I don't even know that I'd call it mainstream metal, but I've seen bands actually I would include Delane among them too. I mean, they came out here opening. First time I saw them was a few years ago with Camelot, and they toured with Nightwish and Sonata Arctica. And then similarly, where I was going to start with that was Sabaton opening up for numerous bands over the last few years too. And you kind of got to a point where you saw the crowd reaction was big for them as an opener, and you kind of step back and go, oh, these guys are probably ready to bring this thing on their own. And that's so. But no question, I'm sure that there was a lot of both time and financial investment in that to kind of build that base and that awareness.
Yeah, of course. It takes time and effort to do it. Otherwise, everybody would be big.
Sure, of course.
But I do love being here. So let's hope that we can come
Definitely.
back.
Well,
a lot sooner than 7 years.
Cheers to that, for sure. So for fans that are looking to come out to the show, buy the shirt.
Yeah,
buy the ticket first of all.
Yeah,
I know that's where it is. Merch sales is a huge piece of it.
Of course. I mean, bands do have to survive on the merch sales now that album sales are so different from what they used to be just 5-10 years ago.
So it's good that you make really cool designs and stuff that people want to go out and wear, right?
And we got a new shirt coming out in a couple of days.
Yeah. So not today?
No, the printing stuff. It's being printed now. It's going to be the backdrop that we use on stage.
Oh, cool.
Not tonight, because the stage, the site that's too low.
Yeah.
But the one that
I
we
saw
had
in Toronto.
yeah. And that's a design that we're doing.
Nice.
And it's like a special shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
This
sweet.
This territory. I think
Chase it down some other way then.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well.